Coming up on Fulton Today, county residents who were once on the wrong side of the criminal justice system now have a new outlook on life. We'll explain.
I'm Brian Robinson, and I'll explain why Fulton's police department locked down the government center to practice something they hope will never come true.
And your water bill may look a little different in the near future. That and much more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. An increase in terror threats around the country in recent weeks has Fulton County Police taking measures to make sure that they are prepared should something happen right here. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now with more on this active shooter training. Brian?
Shawnee, the government center in downtown Atlanta is the headquarters to Fulton County's government. It's also where thousands come to work and visit each day, and that's why Fulton's police captain says active shooter training in a place like this is crucial to everyone's safety and well-being. From gunshots to the emergency alarm to even the weapons, the Fulton County Police Department used every tactic possible to make this active shooter training drill feel as realistic as possible. The goal? Quickly find and stop the shooter.
Officers in the past have had a lot of training in active shooter, but it's never been building specific. So this time we wanted to make the training very specific for this particular building.
Captain Shelton led the drill while the government center was closed for business. It's just one of the many active shooter drills law enforcement agencies across the nation are participating in, all based on recent real-life tragedies.
It's very important to law enforcement officers no matter where they're stationed, whether they're a patrol officer, whether they're a school resource officer. We're all police officers, and an active shooter situation could happen absolutely anywhere.
With the threat of an active shooter situation being a real possibility these days, additional help is always a bonus. That's why these retired Fulton County police officers took part in the drill.
We learned what it's like to actually be in a situation where you're hearing all the noise and the smoke and everything else, so you realize that your senses are not as good as they used to be. The pressure's on, so you don't hear as well as you should, and it was just an eye-opening situation trying to find cover and that kind of stuff, which is totally different than what we're normally doing at the range.
The training was very active. It was different from what we have done in the past. Actually, it involved situations that we could easily find ourselves in today's world.
One element missing in this drill were the civilians. That's why Fulton leaders are requiring county employees to take an active shooter training class so they too are prepared. Should the situation arise in your place of business, Fulton's police captain says the information is the same.
What we teach our citizens and civilians to do are to try to run and then hide and then and then if all else fails, fight.
He says gone are the days of sitting back and waiting for someone to come and save you. Active shooter training is part of the Fulton County Police Department's focus on safety and security. Now that the event is over, they are figuring out what went right and what, if anything, went wrong. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
Thank you very much, Brian. Meanwhile, Fulton County residents weigh in on water and sewer rates and hear firsthand if those rates will be increased next year. Representatives from the Department of Public Works say an increase is necessary to complete projects included in their capital improvement program. But before the rate can go into effect, staff wanted to hear how those rate changes would affect residents.
We've had 3 years of 5% increases since 2017, and based on our capital improvement program that we plan on doing over the next 6 years, we've identified another 3 years of 5% increases. So that second rate of increases is what we're talking to the general public tonight about. Currently, Fulton County's water and sewer system rates are the second lowest in the metro Atlanta area. Cobb County is the only county that is cheaper than us. Even with these 3 years of increases that we're proposing, and assuming that none of the other communities raise their rates, which almost every community has been raising rates on a regular basis, we'll still be the third cheapest provider of water and sewer service. Would be a little bit more expensive than Cobb and Cherokee County.
Now, over the past 3 years, Fulton County's Public Works staff began implementing projects in the CIP. These projects include the Camp Creek Clarifier upgrade, the Big Creek Cobb County Diversion Project, and construction of the Little River Expansion Facility. Fulton takes part in a national effort that encourages eligible residents to register to vote.
And if anyone would like to register to vote, that is what we're here to do. We'll be more than happy to register you all today, okay?
For National Voter Registration Day, registration and election staffers helped students at Georgia State University start the day off by hosting an on-campus breakfast. And during the ceremony, Fulton's registration and elections team explained their roles in the department and then discussed the state's new voting machines.
Well, I think that for young people, one of the things they do have to realize is that every vote counts. Their vote does count, and we want young people to get out and register and go out and exercise their right to vote. It's important.
Staff also partnered with area high schools and other area colleges in an effort to get more people to exercise their rights to vote.
The presentation was very informative. I really think it's really important that students are aware of all these just little nitty-gritty details in regards to just being registered to vote and the importance of voting as a whole.
And I'm a political science major, so recently I've been learning a lot of things about the government, and I just want to know, being a know, I feel like sometimes I'm a little ignorant as certain things, so I want to know more about that whole process. And now that I'm 18, I am an able and eligible voter, and I want to make an impact on my community and definitely have some kind of voice as far as who our congressmen are and our people, our elected officials. That's important to me.
And if you miss the activities, you can still register to vote at any county library and the city hall in each of the county's 15 cities. Fulton and Atlanta kids will once again get hyped, all courtesy of the Fulton County Sheriff. It's the 10th annual Helping Youth Prosper and Evolve Conference. HYPE is a free event that gives middle and high school students the opportunity to form a relationship with law enforcement while learning all about the criminal justice system. And this year's version will once again feature workshops for both children and their parents. For the past decade, HYPE has been so impactful that some former participants have come back as volunteers.
When we started, we had no idea that I would be standing here 10 years later talking about how great this program is. But because of all the input, not only from our employees and the participants having the interest, if they didn't have the interest, we couldn't do this. And it's made a big difference because last year I talked to some of the attendees and they had full scholarships to colleges, and they talked about having been there for 8 years and how this made a difference and how getting this information was very valuable to them. And to me, that's what it's all about.
Now, HYPE is Saturday, October 12th at the Atlanta Metropolitan State College from 8:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. Breakfast and lunch will be provided. For registration details, you can log on to fultonsheriff.org. Participants are given 8 hours of community service. Well, this week marks a new era in the state's fight against family violence. That's because a new director of the Georgia Commission on Family Violence begins her tenure after saying goodbye to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. FGTV's Daryl Carver has the story.
April Ross, by far, is the greatest person I've ever known.
That high praise from Fulton's district attorney was a fitting ending for April Ross's tenure as assistant DA. On her last day as a county employee, family, sorority sisters, colleagues, and commissioners gathered in and around Assembly Hall to say goodbye and good luck in her new role.
Quite an achievement for our county. It's an achievement for the DA's office because the appointment provides an opportunity for the entire state of Georgia to share the benefit of the outstanding skills of April Ross.
April Ross is the new executive director of the Georgia Commission on Family Violence, thanks to Governor Brian Kemp's recommendation. Ms. Ross, a member of the commission prior to her selection, has been the voice of survivors of domestic violence, a subject she knows firsthand. In 2014, her estranged husband shot her multiple times 2 days after she filed for a divorce, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down.
Our relationship began when we were in the 11th grade. It proceeded for roughly a decade and a half. It was a very tumultuous relationship the entire time. I knew it was problematic. I would even have probably called it toxic. But until it happened, the incident on April 25th, 2014, I never really recognized that it was abusive.
According to the district attorney's office, there have been 97 domestic violence homicides in Fulton County since 2009. The numbers have increased by 37% in the last 5 years. To help reduce those numbers, the former assistant DA hopes to work with state legislators to keep guns out of the hands of those convicted of domestic violence and those served with domestic restraining orders.
Guns are the number one weapon of choice for most domestic violence fatalities. So it's important to address the gun aspect of domestic violence. I think that my plan is to begin to build relationships and meet our state legislatures on both sides of the aisle to build relationships and learn their perspectives, and hopefully encourage and facilitate some of the legislation I think Georgia can pass.
Regardless of the success of the legislation, April Ross says she will always be the voice for countless victims of domestic violence, with her new executive assistant, Hershey, right by her side. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Daryl Carver.
We are so proud of you, April, and we certainly will miss you. And still to come on Fulton Today, find out how you can help those in the Bahamas still recovering from Hurricane Dorian. It's part of our district by district coverage next. Fulton leaders lend support to the continuing need for supplies in the Bahamas and prepare for an HIV summit with the church community. Here's this week's district by district coverage. We begin with Chairman Rob Pitts, who is leading the county's charge to help send aid to the Bahamas. The chairman directed leadership to set up barrels at various county buildings to give employees and residents a chance to donate.
It's really important for us, who we have so much here to be thankful for. But there can always be a time when we can be in need as well. So as good brothers and sisters, there are people in the Bahamas who are in need now, who are hurting, and we have the capacity, the ability to help, and we're going to help.
Now, some of the items still needed include canned food, toiletries, including hand sanitizer, diapers, and baby supplies, first aid items, and of course, cleaning supplies. You can visit the Government Center downtown or the North or South Service Centers to donate. Chairman Pitts spoke with the Bahamian Consul General regarding Fulton County's support to continue this relief effort. In District 4, mark your calendars. Commissioner Natalie Hall invites you to join her as she serves as one of the featured guests for the HIV Church Summit at Morehouse College.
We need to address the stigma, the issues, and the social injustice surrounding HIV/AIDS. We need to come together to work on eliminating the new cases of HIV/AIDS in Fulton County. And we know that by the numbers, Fulton County had become #1 in new HIV/AIDS cases over the past year.
Commissioner Hall serves as one of Fulton's commissioners whose focus is on health services. The county has pledged to end the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the county by 2030. Metro Atlanta, by the way, has the 4th highest rate of new HIV diagnoses among metro areas in the United States, and Fulton County ranks 6th highest for new HIV diagnoses among all counties in the U.S. And finally, District 5 Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. has been named Vice Chairman of the McPherson Redevelopment Authority Board. Now, this board is responsible for making decisions regarding the future development and usage of the former United States Army base.
I think we've got some very exciting times ahead of us. We've got about 130 acres that we will be developing, and we'll be looking for development partners and all different types of resources to help spur the economy in Fulton County.
The board is a local government agency created by the state of Georgia and is entrusted with 145 acres of the former Fort McPherson and its redevelopment following the base closing in 2011. Part of the property now is being occupied by Tyler Perry Studios. And up next, how Fulton's juvenile court is helping parents reunite with their children. Stay with us. Fulton's Justice Partners applaud their newest group of residents to complete the Magistrate Court Mental Health Court program. More than a half dozen participants successfully completed the Accountability Court program designed for those with a misdemeanor charge and a mental health condition.
This is graduation number 6. This program, as you know, started July 30th, 2018. And we have affected the lives of over 25 people, and for us this is huge. All these people have willingly said, yes, I'm interested in participating. This is a voluntary program. And sure, for some people it looks like a get-out-of-jail-free card, but what they also need to realize, it is a hard work card. And so after all of that hard work, we get to the point where they get to graduate. So I am so excited.
Justice Partners say this one program can save lives.
This program is so important because the people that we serve otherwise would be sitting in jail rather than receiving the help and the treatment that they're able to receive from this court.
I'm proud in the essence that they have all achieved their goals that they set out in the program, and it looks different from person to person. And that's the unique thing about this journey, because although we come together with one common goal, individually, each person has a separate goal that they're looking for.
The program is a partnership between state and magistrate courts and the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Meanwhile, it was another kind of graduation at Fulton's Juvenile Court. Family Dependency Treatment Court representatives celebrated parents who completed the Helping Our Parents Excel program, better known as HOPE.
And that is a court that we have here. It's an accountability court that we have here at Juvenile Court for parents who have been subject to having problems or issues with use or abuse of illegal drugs or substances, and their children have been removed from their custody based upon their use of those substances.
HOPE is a voluntary 18-month-long program. While enrolled, parents must meet a number of requirements, including appearing in court twice a month, comply with random and frequent drug screenings, and comply with unannounced home visits.
Came in November the 4th, struggling from drug addiction. My child got taken, sent to defects. The program helped me get through the rough and tough times. When I was dealing with loneliness, rejection, depression, and so on and so forth.
Family Treatment Court is an accountability court program for parents who have been charged with not providing their children the care and resources deemed necessary under the law. The court's goal is to ensure the safety and health of children. Well, Fulton premieres teen anti-drug public service announcements. The videos were presented during this reception that applauded youth who participated in the alcohol and drug prevention program at the county's Clubhouse for Youth.
It gives hope to individuals that are suffering from a mental health diagnosis and/or a substance use disorder diagnosis that recovery is possible, and that people, once they seek treatment, can live healthy, vibrant lives.
The teens who have graduated from the program discussed how the Clubhouse positively impacted their lives.
I'm just so proud of all my children, my babies, as they come and as they graduate, and to see their growth and development. It gives them a sense of community and a sense of connection.
The videos, titled Together We Are Stronger, A Teen's Perspective, were produced to encourage teens to remain drug and alcohol free. Way to go, you guys. And up next on Fulton Today, thousands of dollars are up for grabs for various arts organizations. We'll explain. Well, it's just about that time of year again for arts organizations to apply for the county's Contracts for Services program through the Arts and Culture Department. The deadline to apply for funds ranging from $1,000 to $50,000, well, it's quickly approaching. Lionel Thomas, Arts and Culture Director, joins us now with details on this process. Sir, welcome back to Fulton Today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so please explain the Contracts for Services program for those who aren't familiar with it.
The Contracts for Services program is the way we give out money for arts programs and activities that happen in Fulton County to artists and arts organizations.
And Lionel, who's eligible for funding?
Organizations, nonprofit arts organizations, and artists that are located in Fulton County are eligible to apply for amounts from $1,000 to $50,000.
And I understand there are some changes for 2020. Please explain.
There are a couple of changes, and what we're trying to do is increase the number of participants and applicants in our pool. So new changes this year are first-time applicants are no longer restricted to only apply for up to $5,000. They can apply for whatever they're eligible for. And small arts project programs have been increased from $2,500 to $5,000 amounts.
And finally, sir, perhaps most important, the deadline.
The deadline for application is October 18th. That's October 18th, and at 11:59 is when we're going to close the application process.
All right, Lionel Thomas, great information. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
You ain't gonna charge me an extra nickel for that picture.
And speaking of great art, celebrate the 17th season of the Southwest Arts Center by checking out Paradise Blue. Our FGTV cameras were invited to a dress rehearsal of the show before officially opening last week. Paradise Blue, written by Dominique Morisseau, centers around 1949 Detroit, and Blue, a gifted trumpeter who considers selling his once thriving family jazz club.
He's caught up in a bit of a madness, the madness of being black and talented and gifted and having to find relevance in that in a society where black isn't always rewarded. So he's taken on the responsibility of inheriting something that his father left behind that was a pillar of the community, of the black community, and it's become a little bit of a burden to him.
As Blue fights personal demons to better his life, his fellow band members, Korn and PSOM, are stuck wondering where they fit into the plan to benefit from their changes in their neighborhood.
I hope that they get it recognized is that gentrification is not always the solution. Sometimes it's the cause of the problem. And gentrification is a major theme in the show. And I think black resilience and black self-pride and self-reliance is really important.
And it really tells a story of what do communities have to do in order to stem the tide of gentrification. What's the responsibility of individuals to maintain their community, or is it best for an individual, especially if they're battling personal demons, to get out of there and let the community do what it needs to do?
Paradise Blue is a Kenny Leon True Colors Theater Company production. The show ends October 20th. For more information, you can log on to truecolorstheater.org or call 888-479-6300. We're hearing good things about that one. And before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. And you can also watch a replay of this show or any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe. And that's going to do it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.